Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to StarCraft 2 Strategy. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Zerg strategy. Now in this replay, our Zerg player here is Lucky Fish, and our Protoss opponent is Rock's Kiss Pommy. So let's go into Lucky Vision here. So we're looking at a Zerg strategy, and what we're going to be looking at more importantly is being adaptive and being able to change your build on the fly and being able to respond to what your opponent's doing. Now, we go over a lot of builds and we talk about how, you should have set strong builds against the different races. You should have a good build against Protoss, a good build for a Zerg mirror matchup, and a good build against Terran. But you should also have a good idea of when the builds and what the builds are going to be useful against. So in this particular match, what's going to happen is we're going to move out and we're going to scout that our opponent is going for a fast expansion. As such, we're making the decision, instead of going for that normal fast expansion ourselves, a lot of times Zerg players like to go for a pretty quick expansion. Instead of doing that, we're actually going to stay to one base and we're going to play aggressively in hopes of taking them out early, at the very least inducing enough damage to put them behind where we are. So how can we tell this, or how do we figure this out? Well, a very telling sign right here is this pylon. This pylon is only going to be placed here for one reason, and that's to put a wall to defend the natural expansion. Now, as you can see, intending on naturally expanding, Lucky Fish moves his drone out, but then he decides, you know what, no, instead of using this drone to build a hatchery in my natural, I'm going to drop a spawning pool. I'm going to play off one base and I'm going to play aggressively. So yes, this pylon is here to power buildings so that he can create sort of a wall to help defend his expansion against Zerglings. That is the only reason you're going to be seeing a pylon at this position. There's no logical reason to place it there otherwise, because it's so easy to take it out with Zerglings. Just run right around, take it, and problem solved. Many Protoss players are going to make a choke at the top of their ramp. So if you see something like this, again, very, very telling sign that there's going to be an expansion. And as you can see, we are in fact seeing that. So again, instead of going for what we intended on, which was that quick expansion, we decide, okay, I'm going to stick to one base, where I'm going to get this spawning pool up before I expand, and I'm going to try to be aggressive and try to take them out. So as far as the build order timing, we saw this pool at 14 supply, the spawning pool at 14 supply. At 15 supply is when we drop this extractor. And then we're also going to be coming out with the Roach Warren, and that's going to be coming out at 19 supply, so right about now. So we're gonna start off just with a couple of Zerglings, just to poke and prod at the front of his base, see what else he has for buildings here, and just try to be a nuisance. And then we're going to be transitioning into a pretty Roach-heavy build. Now we do have a Queen coming, of course. You always want to get that up as soon as possible. We did go for that Queen at 15 supply right when that spawning pool was done. So at this moment, we're actually not going to be making any more drones. We're going to be saving our larva for roaches, and then obviously making any overlords we need to not become supply blocks. So moving at the front of his base, we do see what he's going for in this wall. We're going to be seeing some cannons. There's that forge for those cannons, of course, and then obviously that gateway there. So clearly, this is a lot of resources that he has invested here. 2 cannons, forge, and a nexus that he wouldn't have otherwise gotten. Normally you'll see pylon, gateway, cybernetics core, things of the sort. So just poking and prodding around. Don't try not to lose any of these. And as soon as this Roach Warren is up, which it is now, we're going to be coming out with those roaches. So again, what we're looking at here is we initially intended on going for that quick expansion, seeing that our opponent's going for a fast expansion ourselves, instead pulling back that decision, not dropping that hatchery at 14, 15, whatever supply you were going to, getting that spawning pool first instead, getting up that Roach Warren, and then hitting early. If you have a Protoss opponent who goes for a quick expansion like this, cannons are very likely, because even with a wall, there's too much space to cover to prevent Zerglings from running in and destroying your whole mineral line. So they're likely to be getting cannons, and again, so mineral intensive. This Nexus, 2 cannons, a forge, costs so many minerals, plus the fact that he's obviously getting probes to try to saturate this expansion. So stay to one base, push out early with some roaches. It can be very, very effective. Now, something to note, you start out with roaches, his likely response is going to be to get some stalkers. You have to expect that. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be starting off this attack with roaches, then switching into speedlings. Speedlings are very, very strong against stalkers. Roaches, it's not so much of a favorable battle for you. So you definitely are going to be wanting speedlings to deal with his likely response to your roaches in mass stalker. So as you can see, you're getting that metabolic boost research, started that at about 34 supply, and then after this next wave here of roaches, we're going to be switching right into speedlings. You can see pumping those out there, and you're going to be seeing those stalkers from our opponent because he really has no other choice. He's not going to be getting zealots because zealots do absolutely terribly, especially early game, against these roaches. So you will be seeing stalkers, and then switching into these speedlings will absolutely make it so that you guaranteed pretty much to wipe them out in this position. So yeah, going to be following up here. Here come out these Zerglings. That speed upgrade is just about finished. Since we're inside of his base, clearly he doesn't have a lot. And you may say, well, is this player terrible? Why doesn't he have anything in his base? It's obvious he has nothing in his base because so many resources had to be invested into this quick expansion. Now, with that said, you're not going to see tons of Protoss players fast expand against Zerg. But if you do, keep in mind, pull back on your fast expansion. If you go for that spawning pool first, get that Roach Warren, and hit his expansion early, you could very well end the game within a few minutes. So let's just go ahead and take a look at that build order one more time here. Started off with that 14 pool, and again, we saw that our player here, Lucky Fish, was moving out for an expansion at about 14 supply. He saw this pylon situated right here, which implied a fast expansion was likely because the only reason to put a pylon here is to make that wall, to be able to power those buildings to make that wall. And instead of going for that expansion, dropping a spawning pool of 14 supply, 15 supply, we saw that Extractor. 15 supply was also when we started building our Queen. 19 supply, getting that Roach Warren here, and then pushing out with roaches, trying to do damage with the likely defense in our opponent of getting stalkers. We then switched from roaches into speedlings, and as you can see, that speed upgrade is just about done. Didn't even get to utilize that, but still something you should be going for. So yeah, guys, pretty effective build, and again, stay on your toes, be adaptive, and that's what's really going to make you a good StarCraft 2 player. So once again, guys, this has been for StarCraft 2 Strategy. If you guys like our videos and you like what's going on here, then please do go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Keep watching and keep owning, guys. Just going to be moving some Zerglings forward, trying to poke at his base. Also, at this point, going to want to start to mass up Zerglings. You can see he's got a huge mass of Zerglings that just ran by, and there's some more right there. So we do need enough to be able to defend against that. So massing up Zerglings ourselves, we are able then to push off and deal with what he has.